Hey everyone, Kyle once again, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan, once again saying happy Thanksgiving. And now the next movie review I'm gonna be doing is another film that came out during a Thanksgiving weekend. Um um yeah, and that is The Pagemaster. Pagemaster, which stars Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone films 1 and 2. Like I say, it came out November 23rd, 1994. Um See, I seen the trailer like a long time ago, the most magical film of 1994. Uh, the film is directed, the live action part here, well, the live, this, it was, had two directors, one who directed the live action stuff, and then one director of the animation stuff. And who directed the live action scenes was directed by Joe Johnston. Joe Johnston, who directed Jurassic Park 3, directed of the Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the Wolfman remake. Um, then he directed another film, Rocketeer, and a film with Viggo Mortensen. I forgot how it's called. Starts with an H. Hedigo. I forgot how that film is pronounced. And also October Sky. And then he directed the live action scenes in this film. And another person who directed the animation stuff was Pixoy Hunt. I forgot how the first name is. Um, and also starring also in this film along with Macaulay Culkin, Christopher Lloyd, who was an actor that I've loved for a long time, especially that film there, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Um, among the voice casts, you have Whoopi Goldberg, Patrick Stewart, Leonard Nimoy, and Frank Welker, who did numerous different voices and a lot of stuff. Frank Welker. Um, hmm. That's fine. It's funny. I got a. Well, like I said, I should know that Wikipedia is not true and everything. I just found it from the DVD cover. Well, the person who directed the animation, stuff, has a different first name, but this last name is the same though. Well, on the Wikipedia it says Poxy Hunt, and I got here on the back of the DVD cover it says Maurice Hunt. And I said Wikipedia is not true and everything. Um, and also doing the screenplay was David Kirshner, who on other stuff like Once Upon a Forest, Hocus Pocus, An American Tail. Then he also was also right on the Child's Play films too. He also was helped write the screenplay on this film too, and also the story by David Kirshner too. So starts out with Macaulay Culkin's character is played by Richard Tyler, who has like a fear of everything. Has in his room he has like emergency supplies or this and that. And he relies like more on statistics. His father he tries to builds him a tree house. Tells him to come up. Gives him then Macaulay Culkin's like 8% of all household accidents are household accidents, and 3% are involving falling off ladders. We're looking at 11% probability here. And his father, well, he practically makes his father fall off the ladder because he raises the bucket and hits him in the head with it, and he falls down. He's like, "Can't argue with statistics, Dad." So he tells him, go to the hardware store and get some nails. So he takes his bike, which is like um, he made like a custom made bike, because he had like this headlights and stuff, and make it beep beep beep, where it's like a construction vest and a helmet, really precautious. Um, so is he riding on a bicycle, goes to some kids, are the construction sign that's on the road. They make fun of him, so he goes around through this tunnel where the light strikes, lights in the tunnel or explode, and then It's raining and windy. Runs through the park, crashes his bike against a tree, but it's like, oh, no cranial damage, you know. So he runs to the library, where it's all dark. But then you have the librarian, Mr. Dewey, played by Christopher Lloyd. He walks into the library and he's like, "You're looking for a special book." Well, no, don't tell me. I have a talent for guessing what people want. You're in need of a fantasy, you know. And everybody's like, no, adventure, of course. You're a boy who loves adventure. No, that's not it. It's like, horror, horror, you know. Christopher Lloyd is very funny, you know. And it's like, your library card, please. I don't have one. You do now. But he tells him he doesn't want a book. He just wants to use a phone to call up his mom and dad. Guides him towards like in which direction, you know. And he goes into the center of the library, with the ceiling with paintings of pirates, Captain Ahab and Moby Dick, then Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, dragon fighting a knight, and then in the center of the drawings we have the Pagemaster. So, but since he was still wet, he slips and it falls on his head and knocks himself out. Then he wakes up and he hears like a couple of noises and the paint on the ceiling starts dripping. Then the colored paint chases after him, chases him around. He gets back into the center of the library, and the paint colors just they wash upon him. And then he looks at him and he finds he's all animated, you know. It's like, I'm a cartoon. And the Pagemaster approaches him like, you're an illustration. So he tells him how to get out, and he must face 3 tests: horror, adventure, and fantasy. So it like makes it like a card hits him, a library card, and hits him away to the phone booth. And then with the books, one was like a pirate called Adventure, voiced by Patrick Stewart. I thought Patrick Stewart was funny though, doing like a pirate voice, you know. Who's the son of a sea biscuit that knocked me off my poop deck, you know? You know, but he sees that he has a library card, like, oh, begging your pardon, I didn't know you was a customer. Ask him if he gets into the exit, he'll check him out, you know. Then he meets Fantasy, voice of Whoopi Goldberg. Tells him the same thing, you know, help him find the exit, and you know, just if he checks him out too, you know. But this is a Patrick Stewart adventure. You know, he opens a book, book of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, opens up and there's a bunch of water that fills up and squid tentacles come out. Or another book that opens up How in the Baskervilles, the Baskerville dog chases after them, and then they get themselves into the horror section, you know. Visits this big mansion, then he meets Horror, that's voiced by Frank Welker. Says the same thing, help him out, you know, check him out, you know. And then you get inside the big mansion where it comes across Dr. Jekyll, voiced by Leonard Nimoy. You know, he drinks the before that he gives Adventure like a green drink. He's like, "Stay back! This is a man's drink." Horror pushes him, drops the drink, and it's like acid. You know, leaves a big hole in the floor. Dr. Jekyll drinks it, then becomes Mr. Hyde. Like covers his face, you know, like Dr. Jekyll's. My name is Mr. Hyde. You know. I thought that was another point to be scary, you know, like covering his face and see his face like that, you know. Then Dr. Jekyll, he falls into the hole in the floor. They get away to the top. Then they go into the beach and they find a boat to row. This is where they get to the adventure section. They see Captain Ahab looking for Moby Dick. Moby Dick jumps on top of the boat, kills Captain Ahab. Then he approaches from the bottom from Macaulay Culkin and the others. Roll, boy, roll! And Moby Dick pops up, crushes the boat. They get drifted in the middle of the ocean. They get picked up by pirates. of the lead pirate, legendary pirate Long John Silver, um, taken to Treasure Island. Um, remember what happens next. Um, and then Richard, stands up to Stone his friends with the sword, and he gets away. But then, like before that, or later, Adventure insults Horror. He insults him, um, because he just finds him. Where's Horror? Then Adventure goes and finds him. He finds that he's been strapped down by little people, referencing to Gulliver's Travels. He says he's sorry. Um, and then later they struggle to go on to the fantasy section. See a bunch of fantasy creatures like Mother Goose, Humpty Dumpty. Uh, so they finally reach the exits. It's on top of this big mountain. Um, then the ground shakes, and then finally that covered underneath the rocks is the ferocious dragon. Um, Fantasy gets the idea to look inside, her pages, Arabian Nights, and to get a magic carpet appears. They use the flying carpet to fly all the way to the top of the mountain. But the three books, they get stranded a little bit below, like halfway through, and while Macaulay Culkin makes his way to the top, but can't leave his friends behind, so he gets this a sword and shield and helmet from a skeletal knight. Works with the courage to conquer his fear, fights the dragon, but he ends up getting swallowed, and inside the dragon's belly, there's a bunch of books, when he opens up Jack and the Beanstalk, makes the stalk goes out the dragon's mouth and climbs his way out. And so finally, the three books finally reach the top, and they open the doors, and they meet the Pagemaster again. He's like, the other three books bow down to him, because he's the Pagemaster, and they call it Colvin Richard Tyler is like, I know who he is. He's the guy who did all this to me. So he tells him what happened to him through his adventure. I've been tossed, squashed, and scared practically to death. But Pagemaster says, and yet you stand before me. Think, boy, what kind of adventure I brought you here with the turn of a page. Sees images of Long John Silver, Captain Ahab, and Dr. Jekyll. So how he conquered his fears. Then he sees a vision of his real life self still lying on the floor unconscious. So he finally says they're ready to go, and Pagemaster uses his powers to transport him and the three books back into back into his own self, and the books fall down back on the floor next to him. Then the librarian comes up to him like, "Are you okay? That was quite a spill you took. Careful, don't want to fall again." Then Richard runs off for a second, but he walks back and says, he wants to check out the three books as he promised them. And Christopher Roy is like, I'm afraid you can only check out two. But then it's like, just this once. So as he walks away, the librarian looks at him, then he sort of smiles because revealing that he is the Pagemaster, that's why he smiles, because you can clearly tell that is little Christopher Lloyd, the Pagemaster looks. That's why he was smiling, because he revealing that he was the Pagemaster. Yeah. So then he gets back on his bike and sees that construction site where the kids were teasing him. There was those makeshift makeshift ramp. I can't even say the word right. I'm just mumbling and starting my words again. This makeshift ramp. So He finally does conquer his finally after he conquers his own fury, so he's not afraid of anything anymore. So he finally rides up the ramp, and yes, that was good, So then later, when it's middle of the night, his parents are worried about him. When they finally get back, they finally see him up in the treehouse sleeping. It's like, it's impossible. So he supposedly goes up and sees them that he's finally sleeping in the treehouse with the books next to him. So his parents says, "Good night, son." As they turn off all the lights, you hear the voices of adventure, fantasy, and horror tell them to turn on the light. Honey, wish granted. And you see the shadows of the even though the reality of the book, they're just books, though, but you see the shadows, you see them talking to each other, you know. And he's like, Adventure's like, this would be good for time for a kiss, and horror kisses him, like, no, not you. He meant a fantasy. And then it's when he had that music by Dream Away. That because one of the highlights of this film that I really did enjoy was that song at the end, Dream Away. For what was that the name of the or was the name of that the people were, because there was two people singing. Um, ah, crud. Can't can't think of the name. Can't think of the name right now. Well, one was called Babyface, and then Lisa something. I forgot how that last name. I think it was Babyface and Lisa something who sang that song. Their Dream Away. And also the song was also playing in the trailer. Well, one of the three trailers. Whatever You Imagine by Wendy. I forget the last name too. Jeez, I can't remember forgetting the last name. It was Wendy something who sang Whatever You Imagine. So I enjoy those two songs, and the rest of the score by James Horner, who did scores for other films. He did scores for lots of films. James Horner. He did scores for Glory, Willow, um, Jumanji. Yeah, mainly for Jumanji, Casper, and the Deep Impact, Massive Zorro, and We're Back at Dinosaur Story. The score I thought was pretty fine, except more those two songs that was in that trailer and at the end at the end of the film. So yeah, so that's the Pagemaster, and it was, and sadly the film didn't do that well at the box office. It made like 21 million, made like 13 million worldwide or in the U.S. Think it was like worldwide. And so this film was a box office bomb, sadly. Um, it debuted, I think it was like number 8 or number 9. Uh, which I thought was pretty sad. Has like 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, has a 5.4 on IMDb. No, just because we're watching this since I was a kid, But I only saw this a couple of times as a kid though. But after buying this DVD and watching this again, I really did enjoy the Pagemaster. Even though I saw it only a couple of times as a kid, so I couldn't pretty much remember much though. But after seeing the film again, I do like it. Because it was a film from the '90s, Especially it was one of the directors directed by Joe Johnston, who directed Jurassic Park 3, which I really love, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and also, but I think I forgot that he also directed Jumanji as well. They probably thought they hired him because he directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, so I thought that'd be a good hit, but sadly it wasn't. It was sad with this film. It was sad this film was a box office bomb. It was a flop, sadly. But yeah, what can you do? Maybe because even though it was a fail at the box office, probably much gained like a cult following later on in years. I don't think it did gain a cult following, but I was just saying though. And even that Macaulay Culkin, he was also nominated for a Razzie Award for not only for this film but even three other films that came out the same year in 1994, Richie Rich and Getting Even with Dad. But Kevin Costner won that award for the film White Earp. Razzies, yeah. Razzies don't they don't which sometimes they do give out to bad films, but sometimes they give out to good films too, which I don't like, especially with some films that don't deserve the Razzie awards. But yeah, so I do like the Pagemaster, I do. The Washington Post, splendidly original. Then the Austin Chronicle, lively, vivid, appealing to all age groups. Yeah. Even when I watched one of the videos from Siskel and Ebert, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. Yeah, so they thought was a nice idea, and the animation was pretty good though. But I thought like the plot and stuff wasn't. They criticized mainly most of the plot, I believe. Yeah. Also, the animation did look nice, and I thought because the animation was nice, especially from an anime film from the 90s. I also do have the poster. It's over there though, but you can't see it though. Well, it's not on my wall, but it's like down there in the corner on my floor though. But yeah, hold on a second. Here we go. Yeah, so I do got the poster here. Because it's also pretty like, also say it's colorful to look at, from the glare. See from the glare. Because, how the use of all the different colors are, pretty colorful too, That's probably the one I like it. Has a lot of different colors, so. So, yeah. That was probably made clear. Like I said, it was sad that the film was a flop in the box office, but there are lots and lots of other good films that I really do enjoy that didn't deserve to flop at the box office, sadly though. But what can you do? So anyway, excuse me. So anyway, that's the Pagemaster, and stay tuned for the next movie review later.